What's up, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Hoops Betting Hour, presented by Pickswise and powered by FanDuel. I am the big man on campus. He's Donnie Rightside. Welcome in today here on a Tuesday, one of the final days of March as we head into April and we get down to the nitty-gritty in college basketball. After tonight, the Final Four will be set. Donnie, I didn't know if we would get here after all the crazy year we had. But one thing was constant in sports. We found a way to get to the final games. We found a way to get to the finals. And we're about to get to the Final Four. One more night of college basketball, and then it's decided. And then we wait till Saturday where we play it for all the marbles.
Yep, and the big dogs come out to play. But we got good games tonight. And I am very happy, Jeff, as I look at the one game that intrigues me the most is cheering on Gonzaga and USC, and they tipped that one at 7:15, so the country can sit back, relax, and enjoy the game. Then when that's over, maybe roll over in the morning and check the final score, Jeff, for the other game.
Yeah, I mean, Donnie, come on, man. This continued crusade on this is so played out. I mean, just give it up and move on. Everybody watches the games. I mean, I was watching.
Do?
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody does. I think
it was good. It was good yesterday, Jeff. I had the Baylor team total over in the first half. As soon as it won, boom, right to sleep. See ya. No need for the second half.
Well, you missed a pretty good game ultimately. But we've got two games today, USC and Gonzaga, and then Michigan and UCLA. We'll see if the games come down to the last bucket. But again, two big numbers for the most part.
Yeah.
We'll see how they look. Donnie had a good day yesterday. I had a good day yesterday. If you tailed the show plays, you did well. We want to thank all the people that watch the show, that check the show out, whether it's on replay or it's live. We thank you for joining us. If you're new around here, make sure you hit the subscribe button. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, hit the subscribe button. And make sure you like the show. I mean, retention is important, Donnie, and it's important that we only ask for you to do one thing, and that's support the show. We already got a couple commenters in here joining us. Thank you for doing that. Let's jump into it. Let's kind of just recap quickly what we saw last night. You know, Donnie, it was the entire tournament. This Oregon State Beaver group found a way to hang around. And as I said on Twitter, the bettors had a horseshoe stuck up where the sun doesn't shine because, I mean, it was just incredible. I mean, Houston controlled the game. Then they threw out this 1-3-1 zone, Oregon State, and they found a way to, just kind of bother Houston. Houston missed some big-time free throws late and ultimately go up 9 with about 20 seconds to go or 10 seconds to go. We get that late second three, of course, and
no foul.
Yeah.
What do we do? You called a timeout for what? To make sure you tell you guys don't foul. Let's just leave the game. What did we do on that, Jeff?
And that was big. That was big for both sides because that could have either covered the number or not, and that also could have put the game over. So ultimately, I had the under, so I didn't hate it, but I did have a little bit on Houston as well. I kept riding, the favorites, and I thought it was a good matchup. And Houston, I probably should have won Houston first half. I mean, it was pretty. It was pretty much that was a wall-to-wall winner. So I should have won that way. But yeah, rough one if you had Houston last night. You probably should have covered. I mean, they were winning by 10 for most of the game. But Oregon State, man, they hung around. They were touchy. They were tough to go against, Donnie.
You know what was good about yesterday, too, because when you watch these games, and again, we partnered up here with FanDuel, and I say it seems like almost weekly at least. There was once a time where you bet the game, and once the game tipped off, you either got in or you didn't, and you just had to let it play out. But you had a plus 18.5 with Oregon State at the half if you wanted that live number. So if you dipped in and said, hey, I like Oregon with the 8, and it's the half, well, they're going to come back or make a run. You could have got plus 18.5 at that point. It's amazing stuff. And also taking a look at some over-unders, like in-game type of stuff, where the algorithms for what you say don't really catch up. Like with 8 minutes to go, I took an over in the game, 123.5, because both teams were in the bonus with 8 minutes to go. And like, let's hit this. and the computer doesn't catch up to that. They don't know fouls. How's that going to play out down the stretch? You get in-game situations like that. You can make some decent money on that. It's fantastic stuff to use FanDuel so fast on getting those wagers in that your bet doesn't end when the game starts. Like if you're terrible, not looking good, or you liked an over, it starts slow, you can jump in a couple minutes in the game. Like, man, I really like the over 130, and now I'm getting over 114. I'll take that right off the bat.
And it's really, like you were saying, I did it on Sunday with some of these totals where some of them are just too high. The start is slow, but it's still a good enough game where the number can get over the supremely low total live. So, yeah, I hear you. You got to be willing to get on board, and that's why places like FanDuel are great, because you can get in and out of the game. And Donnie, there are some people in this business that really limit their loss just because they're able to find some live options and stuff. So, yeah, you're totally right on that. This is actually a good comment. I agree. I didn't watch the whole game, but the last 10 minutes of this game were very good. It came right down to the wire. I don't watch a ton of women's basketball, but shout out to those two teams. They played very well. And I know people have, who watches women's basketball during the Final Four or the Elite Eight? But the game was good, very good.
You know what they have, Jeff, too, real quick on that? Because I actually had that game on my third TV. And the reason being is FanDuel has live in-game wagering on college basketball for women as well. If you can make money on it, you might as well pay attention to it. Because before it used to be like, they might line like a couple games, but you're actually getting live numbers throughout the game if you wanted to bet yesterday. It's interesting stuff, man.
I will say, too, for the first time in it usually happens around the tournament with the women. There was the whole world was on UConn yesterday. Every person I saw, UConn. Baylor's legit too. They're well coached. They have, they're just as good. So, impressive. And Baylor covered ultimately at the end of the game. So good for them. Well, not good for them because they lost, but good for the bettors that took Baylor. The other game, this was a mess. Let's just say. I don't really know where to go with Baylor, just because in watching the game down in the first half, they were in control. Offensively they just couldn't miss, and they made everything they shot, and it got to a point where they're up 18. You're thinking, okay, they're deserving. They should be up 18, but it was so slow. It was by 13, and then you're thinking, why are they not up 25 here? What is going on? Get to the half, they're up 7 or 8. The first half actually ended up almost being a sweat, and the officiating was so horrific. Devion Mitchell gets 3 fouls, has to sit for the final 8 minutes of the half. JD Note, Donnie, fouls out with 13 minutes to go in the game. A guard fouls out with 13 minutes to go in the game. We've watched a lot of basketball this season. We try to say it won't get worse. This was the worst officiated game of the season on both sides. It was absolutely brutal to watch, and ultimately, it's good that you went to bed because you missed out on it was terrible.
Yeah,
the
first half was pretty fun to watch, obviously sitting on a Baylor ticket for the team total in the first half, but watching it all the way through and finding out like what went down, I saw all the notes and the tweets come in. But what's interesting here, because we're looking at the futures now on FanDuel. Gonzaga is still sitting at a plus 135, Baylor down to 220, but Houston tumbled last night. Even after winning their game back down to plus 600, they had that in that 350 range.
Yes.
And I technically agree with it, because if you're looking at Houston, they're scrappy, they're guard laden, they play great defense, but Baylor is that same type of team with better overall talent. And I understand, because I have a Baylor ticket and a Houston ticket, and I'm rooting for Houston. Why? Because it's a bigger ticket, Donnie, obviously. But it tumbled. Like it went plus 350 to 600 this morning, and I actually agree with that.
I don't. Really?
Yeah. Because I think Houston has the advantage against like a bigger team where they can get in and get out. But when I look at Baylor's defense and how it matches up the guards with Houston, I said,
I thought they had a lot of trouble last night defending Arkansas. Not that they're the same teams or anything, but I also think, when you really sat there and watched, they could not defensive rebound. Houston can hit you on Houston's way better than Arkansas. Houston's going to live on a glass, man. I think it's a pretty decent matchup, frankly. But
line opened up, Jeff. By the way, Baylor -5 in that game, total of 135 for the first game of the Final Four. 5-14 tip, holla.
Fantastic. It's still a 5?
What's that? The line?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sitting at 5 at FanDuel right now, minus 106.
Yeah, I like the 5, man. I actually was waiting. I'm kind of waiting to see if it goes up to 5, 5.5. So it's at 5 o'clock. Good. Yeah, it's Saturday. So 5 and 8, I guess. I'll be at the book. That'll be fun. All right. So there you go. But yeah, ultimately Baylor cover and get the job done. Game goes over as well. The spread and total ended up being sweaty. The over looked. It was like the Gonzaga game, Donnie, the other day, where the first half was just up and down.
Yep.
It was kind of slow towards the end, and then it ended up almost not. That one didn't go over, but this one found its way over just with all the fouls. I think there were like 38 foul calls in the game. Just yikes.
By the way, make your free throws, kids. There's a team yesterday, Jeff, that really struggled with free throws. I actually say a couple teams struggle with free throws. That seems to be, if you're going to put it away at an 80% clip, you can win some of these games. But if you ain't making free throws, boy, these games get interesting down the stretch. Ooh.
Yeah, and we've lost like Oral Roberts, who was really good from their team. I'll tell you the one kid though for Baylor, I love seeing in a game late. Flagler, number 10, the kid makes his free throws always.
Yeah.
And when I see him in the game, plus let's also point out Arkansas just went cold over the last 4 minutes or so of the game. I think they missed 12 straight shots. And that was the key to Baylor just finding enough to pull away. And that's really the cap of the game. I didn't know if Baylor would win by 20. I was hoping for a 10 to 12 point victory. And that's kind of where it landed. It was a little closer comfort, but they did enough, and we earned it. If you back Baylor, you earned it. They should have covered. They should have won by margin, and they did. All right, let's get into some of today's games. Thanks everybody for joining in. Jeremiah Denning says, "Love you guys." Thanks, man. Newkirk is in here. Sam's in here. Devin Rivera is in here. A lot of people in here. Thanks for joining us. As always, if you're enjoying the show, make sure you subscribe. Tell your friends about the show. Hit the retweet button on Twitter. That's always helpful to grow a show, right, Donnie?
Yeah.
The retweet button.
Organic.
Yes. Great word. An organic way of sharing. Correct. All right, let's get into the games here, Donnie. Why don't you tell us about the first one?
This is my favorite game, like of the Elite Eight coming up here. UNC Gonzaga tips off at 7:15 tonight Eastern time. Opened up at -9, Jeff, stayed right at -9, and that is a key number. 155.5 the total, down to 153.5. And just looking at the 9, most people will tap in. Forget about it even if you watch USC play. That line of 10.5, 11.5, 12.5, 13.5, much different look to the eye than hanging a 9. Because you see Gonzaga scores. It's like usually when Houston wins, they blow everybody out, typically in the season. Didn't happen last night, but they were on their way to a blowout in the first half. Looking at Gonzaga, they wiped the floor with everybody. Now I'm seeing 9s, and they're not moving at all here. And we'll see where that line gets a little bit closer to game time, because you're looking at a team in USC that's got NBA bodies. You watch the tournament, Jeff. Gonzaga does whatever they want. Shoot the 3, go inside, dominate. Let me tell you something against USC. Drew Timme's not going to go downside and just beat the hell out of the bigs on USC. It ain't happening tonight. One of the best teams defending at the rim in college basketball. But then we look at Gonzaga and say, well, they're a machine. They score at will. Right. They do whatever they want. The way I'm looking at this game, Jeff, typically, it's trying to find a way to take Gonzaga, but that's not the case for me. The one thing you've always said throughout the tournament, if there's any, little way through Gonzaga, is if you play really well on defense. The defending it sometimes, they're good on defense. Don't get me wrong. You don't make it this far without being a good defensive team, but maybe a little bit lax. They're up tempo, so the other team's going to get more looks legitimately. Now, the one thing USC does is they play great defense, and they're going to extend you. Maybe those looks aren't there earlier, but it doesn't seem like it affects Gonzaga, Jeff. Every team they play, they impose their will on the defense, which is good. So the way I'm going in this game, Jeff, I'm going to flip the script. USC's team total over 72.5. There's no way in this game USC wins, Jeff, 68-66. It's not happening in this game. The Gonzaga squad will be into the high 70s, if not the 80s in this game. And I think USC will be competitive. And in order to do that, they got to be in the mid-70s in this game to have a look at winning. I'm going team total over 72.5 USC, Jeff. What do you look at here tonight between Gonzaga and SC?
Yeah, I played Gonzaga yesterday at 9. Minus 105. This was an auto play for me. We have to remember, and I'll keep driving this home. Gonzaga's won every game by double digits outside of West Virginia. Now, when you look at this game, I think the layperson out there is going to say, well, this seems like a lot of points. Well, not really. I had it 11. That's where I put it. Thought the number had value at where it is. And when you look at Gonzaga, I think that the thought is, yep, USC's a really good defense team. True, but Gonzaga gets whatever they want. I'm sick of like making that excuse. Oh, they're good defensive. Yeah, but it's Gonzaga. And I think one thing that you can exploit with the Mobleys is, Donnie, this is, I think, a game where teacher takes student to school. And I think the Mobleys are young and spry. They're good players. But Timmy is savvy, man. He is a savvy kid around the rim. He can get them to bite. I think one of them gets in foul trouble. He can move around a little bit. And one thing that I've seen with USC, Donnie, this year is they have struggled with teams that have either good bigs or physical bigs. Look at the Arizona, Colorado, Utah. All those teams have decent bigs and all gave issues. Plus, you look at the guard position. I think I don't know if it's going to be easy for USC to score, but you're right. They are going to be in a situation where Gonzaga just kind of ultimately kind of settles with you and lets you do what you want to do. They just want to just kind of score more than you. I think Gonzaga takes care of business. I think they can really exploit the three-point defense that's not strong for USC. That's one of the issues USC really has, defending the three. It really doesn't matter where Gonzaga is. They make shots. They're efficient. They're arguably the best offense we've ever seen at this level. I think the offense that they run makes sense, and it's really a matchup that they can exploit. USC's good. They're not on this level, in my opinion. And I think, as I said, the savviness of Timmy and just the overall depth that Gonzaga has, I think really takes USC to school. Andy Edfield's never not covered in the NCAA tournament, Donnie. 10-0.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, baby.
I think people that bring those up need to remember, though, they're different teams. These are different situations, and this is Gonzaga. Look, if they win, 85-80, then so be it. But I had it at 11. It was a little low to me.
Yeah, and this will be finally a step-up game for Gonzaga. It's been a while since they played a good basketball team. Norfolk State, Oklahoma out their second best. Creighton just crashed and burned at the end of the year, couldn't make any shots. But
they
that
make
having
everyone
said
look
that,
average, though.
No, that's what I'm saying. So early in the season, they played a couple, but they've gone probably, 2.5 months without getting a real step-up shot with NBA-type talent. They'll get it tonight, but it's just a matter of this. I'm looking forward to my tickets here. I want somebody to knock off Gonzaga. I just don't think it's going to happen. And we're not talking, Jeff, about a 3-point line tonight. Hey, Gonzaga -3 USC. They're heavy, heavy favorites to move on, as they should be. Foul trouble for USC, that'll doom it. But the one thing I love is it doesn't matter what happens. Gonzaga goes fast. And I think USC is going to have to match some of that tempo. And 72.5 is not a big number going against a Gonzaga team that should be in the 80s for me.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. And that's really going to be the way they kind of have to go here. I think the full game total is it was slightly high for me. I was hoping it was in the 140s. It's like 149, but I'm looking at a total, I'm probably going to have something as well, Donnie. I'm going to continue to hit the first half team total. I mean, these have came in on Saturday or Sunday. We have to remember, okay, and if I'm out there looking at this game, there is absolutely in these games no shot I can continue to back the full game team total. This team just, Donnie, they have some brutal beats from a team total standpoint where they'll, like the other day, they had 83 with 2.5 minutes to go, didn't score the rest of the game. Some of these team totals are brutal for Gonzaga. You need to stop full game and just do first half. They get the 40, 42 every first half. It's 38.5 tonight. That's just something I've been kind of playing, smaller off the beaten path, and I continue to kind of want to play it. But I think Timmy's the difference. He is super savvy around a basket. He's a maestro underneath. I think he'll just kind of bother a younger Mobley and kind of maybe take it to school a little bit. I think this is where we see that Mobley is really good, but when you deal with these older kind of kids around the basket, they kind of do what they want to do, and Gonzaga gets whatever they want from anywhere on the court.
I love that it's an early game. Like that, I'm really looking forward to this game because I like the way Gonzaga plays. They're a fun team to bet. Betting against them isn't fun because you're just basically one of those games, Jeff, where I like to say, just turn the TV off, and me and Jeff always have an inside joke. Look, radio silence. USC gets up, 10-4. I don't want to hear anything for the rest of the game. One of those type of things. It's hard betting against them, but they're fun games to bet because the style is there. You're not going to get a Loyola Chicago, Oregon State. Like, this game stinks. Like, unless I was betting on, I would never watch this in my life. It's horrible. Burns your eyes. Gonzaga plays a pure brand of basketball. And this game's going to be a lot of fun with a lot of really good NBA talent on both sides.
We talked about it the other day. The best offense that I've seen is that Villanova one, the 2016 team, which we looked it up. I mean, they had the highest offensive efficiency really ever. This Gonzaga team's approaching that. And it's wild, Donnie, because we seem to say it every year. They have a number one offense every year. Yeah. This Thomas Lacey, I want to talk about this comment. He says, I hate the argument, Donnie, that they haven't played anyone with top 10 talent yet. Remember 2 days ago when Zagorowski was the best player ever and Creighton was top 10? Well, listen, Thomas, nobody said Zagorowski was the best player ever. We said that, and I said I thought he was the best player on the court because I do. I think, like, ultimately he is really good. I think if you're going to try to make this argument, this is the wrong show to do it on. I've carried the water for Gonzaga for decades, basically. I've always rooted for them. I love their program. Let's cool it a little bit. They're very good. I think Donnie is right, though. They have not, but that's been this tournament, Donnie. Look at Houston. They haven't played.
No, you only play who you are. And we said coming into the tournament, Jeff, they deserved it. Gonzaga was by far and away the number one seed. They deserve the easiest path. That's why you get the overall number one seed. Why? Right. To get the easiest path. Right. We're not hating on it. You can only play who you play, and they are waxing those guys. But you're trying to say, like, the WCC as a whole, not very good compared to the rest of the year. But again, Gonzaga is hammering those teams. They're not just squeaking by.
And Thomas, again, we're not saying that, like, Creighton was a top 10 team all year. I mean, they were. But being a top 10 team this year was not that impressive because there really wasn't that many great teams outside of Gonzaga, Michigan, and Baylor. If you were a top 10 team, it's like, oh, cool. But it's like being in the top 25 and you're 20th. Like,
it's like, cool, hey, we beat Kentucky this year. Awesome. You're like, yeah, well, everybody beat Kentucky. So so cool.
Yeah, it's not that great. I mean, Creighton was a decent opponent. They played well for 10 minutes, and like everyone else, Gonzaga rolled. I mean, I don't think anything, like Donnie said, they haven't played really. Their conference schedule sucked. BYU was,
and they had an easy run in the tournament. Like by any team that's been where they're at right now, their tournament run has been a cakewalk. And we'll see if it gets tougher tonight because the Pac-12's been great. USC's, and if they handle USC, we'll say the same thing next. Like, hey, well, now they're going to have to face like Michigan, and now they're going to have to face Baylor. The same things are always going to pop up. It's just the nature of the beast when you play in the West Coast Conference. That's always going to be on the front of people's mind. Always. It's just the way it is. Regardless of, Gonzaga is by far the best team in this tournament. They're the best team.
And the truth of the matter is, you can say it's too many points, but is it though? Like, they've won every game by double digit. Like,
and they play tempo. They have no their gas pedal usually is always down unless they're up 30 points. Their gas pedal is always down.
Right. I mean, and USC is a team that has deficiencies in this game. They are not a good 3-point defense. And I will not take away from the Mobley kid. They are good players. But again, this is a seasoned team that can score from anywhere on the court. And it's a quick turnaround, Donnie. I mean, if this was the Final Four for USC, I think it's a better opportunity to back them just because they have way more time. But this is a quick turnaround, man. This is not easy to go from the way you dispatched Oregon to a team that you took care of all year. But again, look at USC, Donnie, in their losses this year. They have struggled with good and savvy guard play and good physical bigs. And Timmy is as good of big as you can find. So, I mean, can you make the case, Donnie? Timmy, I guess you just say Garza is number one, but Timmy's right there. I mean, Timmy is terrific. So,
no, to have a player that skilled on like the low block, everything flows through you, and you have killers at every position. It's one of those where you try to match up Gonzaga, Jeff, with like, what's their weak point on offense? They have an NBA point guard that can penetrate, hit open looks. They have a big that can dominate on the low block and is a great passer to kick it back out, deadly from 3-point range. What's not the? We're trying to find ways to see how they could possibly lose. But we keep preface this by saying you don't enter the tournament, Jeff, as like a plus 230. As the champion and be like, whoa, like that team is outrageously good.
Oh, by the way, they also have Nembhard, who was a starting point guard at Florida last year. Off the bench, by the way. Cliff says, a guy asked Jeff last week for a shirtless selfie to see the game. I laughed my ass off.
Yep.
Well,
Yep,
listen,
they want to say it.
Well, listen. I mean,
Picks and Speedos.
I mean, I'm a way different body type now. Soon enough, I'm actually, Donnie, personally, today, I'm actually getting back with my trainer. I'm going to start weight training. So
there you go. Now you don't have to hate the water anymore. I'm going to see you in a bathing suit going in the ocean this summer.
I'm hoping by August, September, because I'm already seeing some definitions. So I think by August and September, I'm going to be feeling good. So
there you go.
I'll get back to, I'm doing cardio, but I wanted to start doing weight training too. So Donnie, by the way, a lot of people don't believe this, but I'm going to get it on video. I can bench 305. So
I know. Yeah.
I'm going to get that on video. So
don't be losing all that strength, man. You had all that weight behind you. Could throw weights around. Let's see. We'll see if we can get back in there.
My arms are diesel, man. I do 200 push-ups a day, man.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, we haven't heard from you in a while with the workout. Are you working out?
I do cardio at home. I have a gym membership. I haven't been to the gym since the pandemic, but now, like, the good news coming out, I'm really itching to get back in because, since going to college, it's just instilled. Like, I've been at the gym 5 days a week, and it's not because I like to go to it. It's just a habit. Jeff will tell you, like, you're in that habit now. Every day you wake up, it's not like, hey, I'm so busy today. Like, no.
You make time.
I'm going to work out at this time and this because it makes you feel good. That's the way I am. It's been a year and a half and just doing like dumbbells and push-ups and looking at my treadmill right there. It's tough because I enjoy that 9:30, 10 a.m., go in the gym for an hour, get your work done. You feel great the rest of the day, and it's coming soon. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, no, it's really something you have. Like, once you start doing it every day, it's just, they always told me it'll just be part of your day, and that's how it is now.
Like eating, like when we're gonna have lunch. Well, no, I go to the gym, or hey, my day is busy today. Okay, instead of going to the gym at 3 o'clock, I got to bump it up to 1 o'clock. You always make time for it once you're ready for it.
Exactly. And if it's not a 4, you do it at 3 or whatever. Yeah, it's helpful. So get out there and just move around, do some walking or something. Okay, let's get into the other game, Donnie.
Second game, we'll set the table, 6:59, 6:60, tip time, 9:57 p.m., which is sure to be pushed back to 10 o'clock like the second game was yesterday. Opened up 7.5, Jeff, as a favorite to Michigan. Bet down to 6.5. That Pac-12 strength here, Jeff, coming in. Opened up at 136.5, and now I'm taking a look at FanDuel, 135.5. I'll let you start on this game, but before we do that, Jeff, you want to get down on this game? You still have some time left. I'm looking at my calendar, Jeff. It still says March 30th. The promo is during March. $1,000 up to, I should say, a $1,000 free wager at FanDuel. What does that mean? You want to get in tonight? Hey, I love Gonzaga, Jeff. I'm laying the 9. If they don't win, you know what? You don't feel so bad when you wake up the next day because you get that back in a site credit to try to build that bankroll back up to 1,000. So again, Jeff, if we look at this and say, well, I don't have $1,000 to put in. It's up to 1,000. You got $50, $25, $100, Jeff. They will match it, and you can get in, have some fun, and make some money because we're not too far off. Next Monday night, Jeff, ain't no more college basketball.
Yeah. So what that means is, okay, if you throw $500 on FanDuel for the first time, you put it on Gonzaga tonight, and they win by 5, get that money back, right? So it's a great start to a bankroll. Bonuses, they're there. They put them out there. You got to use them, and it's a good way to help yourself out. Anything you can do to get 1 bet, 2 bets credit, that's helpful, man. So yeah, take advantage. Again, if you're in Philly or Jersey or Indiana, I don't really know what you're doing. Get on FanDuel. You got to have it. It has to be part of what you're doing.
It is a must. Thank you guys for the thumbs up, the thumbs down, the comments, and the live chat box, and also hitting that subscribe button here. We've had a lot of fun through here, March Madness. Now, also today, we're going to hit the second game in a moment, but Jeff's going to get back to some NBA action. I will be back, and here's the key, Jeff, on Saturday's show. I get my second shot on Friday, and a lot of my family members have been down for the count over the weekend. But you know me, Jeff. I'm a tough guy. Always put that show face on. We've done thousands of hours of shows together. Make sure I fight that out because I can't miss a Final Four show.
No, you can't.
No way.
No, you definitely can't.
No way.
Now, Donnie, you took the Moderna shot?
The Pfizer shot.
See, I think you'd be okay. I've heard good things about people.
No, but I know the same thing. There's 2 sections. There's Camden County and Burlington County. I went to the Burlington County one. They give out Pfizer. A lot of my family also went to get the Moderna one. But I've had it both ways where I know a family member that had no issues, and I had one that was laid up for 3 or 4 days.
I'm not
looking forward to that.
I remember when I scheduled the second one, I made sure to get it on like a weekday.
Yes, that's why I had Friday.
For
yeah,
a day or two or three, I might be,
yeah.
not feeling well. So, it's a small price to pay. I'll tell you, I'm getting that card laminated, bro. Like that vaccine card, I'm getting that laminated. Yeah. I'm telling you, that's going to be like gold, man. In a few months, because they're going to do it, man. You're going to need it to go travel places and do stuff. It's going to be like a golden ticket. It's like your Willy Wonka or something.
That's it. And to be honest with you, I love to travel. I mean, I've been to Jamaica. Went through hoops to get there and back. And if it's just as easy just to flip up a card that you just pass through the line and you have no issues about testing positive or not doing anything, that's the reason why I got it, because I don't want to go down to the shore and they say, hey, you can't come in on this, or hey, I really want to fly out of town. I can't fly out because I got to take 19 tests again, which was such a pain in the ass. And also, the worst part about that, Jeff, is when I did go to Jamaica, it wasn't the fact that I had to take the test to go. If I tested positive in Jamaica, I would have to stay there 14 days. And if you have a card that just says, hey, it doesn't matter, and you go home, boom, let's go.
No, it's the last thing I'll say is, you have to just come to grips with this is a thing and has been a thing for a year now. The quicker people do this, and again, Donnie and I both have taken it. We don't have 6 heads. We don't have an extra arm. And you know what? You get peace of mind, man. You can enjoy yourself just a little bit. You can go out and have a day at the casino. Like, you could feel a little bit better. And knock on wood, you still have to follow the rules. But eventually, you're going to have the opportunity to get it. There's not going to be an excuse of, well, I can't get it right now. Bite the bullet. Take an hour or two out of your day and at least get one of the shots. I mean, if you don't want to get 2, fine. But 1 protects you 80%. It's better than nothing.
Yeah, but 2, Jeff, gets you the card, though. So you can go 1. Because I've said the same thing to my wife. Like, wait a second. 1 gives you 80% immunity and 2 gives you the 90%. I don't want to get sick on the second one. But the card, it's like that's the little, like, at the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow in case anything else goes down. Like, hey, here's my card. I'm going to go fly somewhere.
Donnie, I've heard through the grapevine from certain chicks and stuff that it is a badge of honor now on these dating profiles to write fully vaccinated. Yeah.
Good point.
Because it's like,
single people out there.
As many of you know, and I'm sure this one will get clipped by the people that hate me because it's, again, sarcasm, but I'm sure as many of you know, I am a ladies' man, and I can tongue it down with a lot of women here if I wanted. But I don't, because I'm healthy, and I don't want to get random people in this house, and I don't want to get the virus. But, Donnie, if I had the ability to see a card that says you're vaccinated, then I'd open up the floodgates a little bit, if you know what I mean.
There you go. Go down to Philly Live and mess around the FanDuel Sportsbook, see what some of the ladies are down there. So
let's get back to the games, because I know a lot of you would like to hear about my escapades, but we've got games.
But there is an escapade tonight, Jeff, as we talked about UCLA, Michigan. Your turn, Jeff. We set the table for the game, obviously 6.5, 135.5. What are we thinking here? Is Michigan just continue to move on when we thought they were probably the most vulnerable 1 seed in the tournament, or does the Pac-12 just say we're here and we ain't going anywhere?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, even me, I think we all doubted Michigan. How are they going to figure out no livers? How they going to, who's going to step up? And look, Sean D. Brown has stepped up. I mean, he's been big in these games. He's a great defender. Michigan's really fell back in love with playing defense and getting stops and putting pride on that end. Everyone has commented on it. Everyone has made the point of how good they are. And this is a similarity, a pretty good matchup for them against UCLA. UCLA has a lot of the same Florida State kind of things that they do. They're very much a spot up and catch and shoot type of team. And, that's something Michigan really thrives in. I'll be honest, Donnie. I don't know who covers Dickinson on this team. They just don't have enough bigs. I think Dickinson really has a big-time game here. I think he's really the difference in this one. I don't think that USC really has any matchups for really anyone on the court. I think, defensively they've been good, but this is a different type of team than Alabama. Alabama's really a ton of isolation, guard play, get into the lane. Michigan can work the ball around, a lot of great movement, a lot of creativity, just a fun offense to watch, and have plenty of guys that can beat you, whether it's Liver or Franz Wagner or Brooks. I mean, they can all shoot, so it's dangerous. And you work the ball through Dickinson. the one thing about Dickinson that I love, Donnie, and it doesn't get talked about enough, is his ability, because we've seen it with bigs. The kid for Oregon State couldn't do it. And I don't know why Houston didn't do it more, but doubling a big to make them get the ball out of their hands. Dickinson is so adept at finding cutters, finding shooters. Like, he's so good passing the ball as well. He's just so elite at the talent level that he is. He's a freshman, and he's so good still with his IQ. I think this is a tough matchup. It's, again, a short prep for the Bruins. I've laid down in these 4 games, I've laid it with every team. Or at least wanted to lay it with every team, and I'm 1-1 so far. But I did it with Baylor even against Villanova. I'm going to do it here. I think Michigan is a pretty good matchup here. I think they win like 71-58. I think the under has value too. Neither team wants to go real fast. Both teams play great defense, and I think UCLA has a lot of trouble scoring, and I don't think they have an answer for Dickinson. So I'll go 71-58. I'll lay the number with Michigan.
Showed me a lot because, UCLA is a slow down team. They want to play some defense. But the fact that Michigan was able to just dissect Florida State's defense, which to me is one of the toughest to get after because of all the athletic ability at every single position, I think that bodes well. And also, if you take a look at Michigan, Jeff, throughout the Big Ten tournament and also the NCAA tournament, they've been up at the half each and every game. That's going to be my path in this one. I'm going to take, and I saw Sam in the chat box very early here take the wager that I like. I'm taking Michigan, Jeff, -3.5 in the first half, be up about 5 to 6 points. If they're up each and every game, all you're asking for is a chance. And say, well, hey, they could lose. Yeah, of course, they could be up by 1 point. But as long as Michigan is in the lead, late, that's all you can ask for in some of these. And also, Jeff, get back to the same point that we've been making on some of these shows. 2 foul participation for UCLA ranks at 313 in the country. Give me 2 fouls on Juzang. Give me 2 fouls on their point guard. Now we're going to be in some business here. It happened in the last game. I didn't get the team total for Michigan in the last game, but they forced Florida State into a double bonus. Hopefully that they can force UCLA into some fouling situations, make those free throws late. But you also brought up as well, who's guarding Dickinson down low? This team is stacked down low. Throw the ball in repeatedly, get them in foul trouble. Let's move on. Give me Michigan up by 5 to 6 at halftime, and then we'll cruise the rest of the way. That's the way I'm going, Jeff. First half, Michigan -3.5.
I really worry, and I think that's a good point, because the problem that you had in the last game was Florida State has 10, 11 guys they can throw out there. UCLA doesn't. I mean, they have no bench. They're without their bigs already. Listen, if Cody Riley goes out of this game, it's game over. I mean, they don't have anyone. They don't have the personnel. It's like Luka Garza. I mean, he was luckily smart enough to not get fouls, but Iowa didn't have anyone else. They don't have anyone, UCLA. So if I'm UCLA, I'm really worried about Dickinson, because Cronin doesn't have a matchup for him. And Cronin's a great coach, but you don't have much time to figure that out. So, I don't hate that play either. I think Michigan is surely up 34-26 or something, or something like that. I think they're up significantly in this game. And I think they really just cruised to a 12, 13-point victory. I don't think either of these games are going to be particularly close. And that's what you get when you get Cinderellas to run and make, UCLA make a run, or Arkansas or something like that. Like, these are the games you get, because every team, Donnie, is, as we've said, leveling up. And they're going from playing good teams to now they're playing great teams. So when you want to bang the drum on Cinderellas, this is what happens when you get the Elite Eight. Now, the Final Four is shaping up to be terrific, because you have Baylor and Houston are fantastic. That should be a fun game. And then you get the opportunity to and I'm going to tell you this now, Gonzaga, Michigan is going to be elite. That is going to be a terrific game. They have the best chance to beat Gonzaga. It's not Baylor. It's not Houston.
And that'll be the late game too. Yeah.
Michigan has the best chance to beat Gonzaga. The things that I've dreaded the most, and the things that I've looked back on this season. You look back in your life, Donnie, sometimes to say, man, if I just did one thing different, it could be different, And I've made a lot of mistakes, but the biggest mistake I've ever made is not getting on Michigan before the season to win the NCAA. You could have got such a great price. I mean, this was a team pick to finish middle of the pack in a Big Ten. Next year's the year. Juwan Howard's an elite, man. If you have a Michigan ticket this whole time, Good for you. You believed, and there are probably plenty of fans that do. Yeah, I'm gonna go with. I like Cronin a lot, but this is a tough spot for Michigan.
The train rolls off. We talk about pathways to victory, Jeff, and the Picks Wise Capper contest. Looks like it's a 2-team race here. Megan making money 13-10 overall. Bets by Bob 12-11. And we do know that that's within 1 game margin. They're both lock record as 5-3. As I slide it down, Megan making money's got Illinois as the champion, obviously not going to win. But also Bets by Bob has Gonzaga as the winner. So heading down the stretch, Jeff, looks like it's a 2-team race here to try to get back into, as they both have Michigan to win tonight minus the 7.5.
I want to, and we talked about this yesterday. Okay, people ask me. I have 2 people reach out. Why aren't your picks on the contest? So Sunday night, Donnie, we had to have the picks in by 11 Eastern. Okay, it was a little busy on Sunday. Didn't get home in time. I submitted the picks. I assumed I'll be okay. They told me they don't count. Sadly, the picks that I sent in went 2-0 last night. Tonight, I sent in the picks as well. I'm still waiting on confirmation. The picks that I sent in were both favorites. I played both favorites in the contest. It sucked because I'm kind of right there. But this Megan Making Money chick is she's doing well, so she may win.
Yep, lock record overall. We'll say still a long way to go here. And again, that tiebreaker, if you have Gonzaga in your back pocket, doesn't seem to be too bad at this point, but we'll see if that actually plays up and catch up. But only 2 games on the card tonight. 2 good games. 7:15 tip UNC Gonzaga. Second game's going to tip around 10 o'clock UCLA and Michigan. It's nice. This is a nice Monday, Tuesday reprieve, getting some really good basketball on these nights. And we don't have to wait as long, Jeff, right? We're not finishing up on a Sunday and like, boy, we got to wait all the way through to next Saturday night. Once these games are through, you turn into a Wednesday. Hey, Final Four is on Saturday, not that long of a wait. So good stuff here, and we'll be back on here, at least for college basketball talk, Jeff, on Saturday. Let the people know what's going on here Picks-wise during the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday edition of the Hoops Betting Hour.
As far as I know, we will be doing NBA. Get a check with the powers that be on that. Our show, Donnie, as we'll say before, the show is kind of something to get us through March. We'll see what the future holds for us and what we're doing next. Chiarchi says, give something to the mailman. I agree. If I won, I was going to give something to the guy. I said I would give 10% to the mailman if I won. Hopefully those people do the same. It's cool to have someone in the contest that's not give him all the money. Whatever, man. Good for him. He was picked. He should be the guy. ABL Paredes says, Houston Gonzaga final game. Gonzaga wins championship. Well, hey, yeah. I
would love to see that final, actually. I really would. Because maybe you can turn off, and it's going to take a lot of money to make some money, but that's a good position to have if you have a Houston ticket in your back pocket going up against Gonzaga in that game.
I don't even know what this means. Chris Carter says, you could tell BMOC is young with these issues.
Yep. Young kids, man. Always missing deadlines, man. You a millennial, Jeff? Are you officially a millennial?
I don't think of myself.
No.
I know, Chris Carter. You would be leading the contest, and you would have got all your picks. Hey, man, listen. Sorry, I was a little busy. I thought I'd get home in time, and I didn't. I was hoping we could still get them in. Listen, it is what it is. I hope someone wins, and they deserve it. Megan's been good. She deserves it. I'm not going to lose sleep, Chris. It's all good. Who else do we have here? Here's what we'll do, Donnie. We have a minute or two. If anyone has any comments or questions, feel free to throw them out there quickly. Donnie, last thing we'll say, baseball. We talked about it yesterday. Off the beaten path right now. Who's in the World Series and who wins?
In the World Series, it's funny you said that. I have 2 futures I took, Jeff, in the NL. Mm-hmm. One is and the same thing I did last year, Washington Nationals at 30-1. Not because I think they're very good, but if they can make the playoffs, you have that good 1-2-3 punch to start. And that's what pitching matchups roll over. But I also took the Dodgers like plus 330 because they have like 2 starting lineups and it's really just not that fair. But out of the AL, maybe sneaky Oakland, it's hard to push the Yankees back because now you're looking at a whole season and the Yankees are going to have money. So what happens at the trade deadline, Jeff? They need an extra pitcher. You know what they go out and get, Jeff? The extra pitcher. Mm-hmm. Money doesn't matter. It's going to be hard to keep the Yankees down. Am I rooting for the Yankees? No, but I could see that matchup sort of careening down the path. I'm
going to keep – and the only thing that keeps me off them long term is the fact that they have a weird situation with where they play baseball. Toronto, man, on paper,
it's hard. It's good. Good point you brought up though on Toronto, Jeff, because you're right. That's not fair. It's not fair to the team. It's not fair for purposes because you saw what they said. We're going to play a couple in spring training. Maybe a couple in Buffalo. Maybe we'll go back to Toronto. Get it together, Canada. That's your boys, man. Get it together.
Ray, Mats, Roark is a solid starting, and their bullpen's good. Their lineup,
is all so much fun. Their lineup,
yeah, it's all power and Houston Astro players that were at Houston. Now they're in.
But
Toronto.
Moving that, you see, like Toronto, like the basketball team. Hey, go down to Tampa. Lost in space, stink. It's
Donnie. Speaking of that, really quick, last thing I want to say, I watched this thing yesterday on YouTube about. It's one of those recommended videos about up in Washington State. If you look to the direct left of Washington into the ocean, right below Canada, there's an island. Okay, and it's connected to Canada, but it's still under the 44th parallel, or whatever it is. So it's considered the United States. It's called like Port Roberts or something. Okay. And it's basically an island that is part of the state of Washington. And their literally imaginary line is like this lame barrier and between Canada and the United States. And there are people, they can't go into Canada because if they go into Canada, like it's crazy. It's crazy how serious Canada and look, ultimately it's worked out because they've done a lot better with the coronavirus than this country. But I mean, at some point, like, can we just kind of move the wavelengths a little bit? I mean, what point is Canada going to say, you know what, like, let's relax some of these crazy things. Like, the baseball teams can come in. Like, what are we doing here? Why aren't athletes given the vaccine yet? Like, what are we doing here? I can get the vaccine, but LeBron James and Kevin Durant can't? Like, what are we doing?
They can. Trust me.
Why haven't they gotten it? Why haven't the NFL or the MLB gotten it?
I don't know. It's just a lot of conspiracy theorists, I guess, out there on that end. But Canada's just hilarious. Like, it's professional. Everything is contained with professional athletes. The best care, 5-star hotels, private planes, but they can't fly into Canada. Get it together, Canada. Come on.
If I'm the owner of the Blue Jays, I'm kind of getting annoyed. Like,
yeah, you better be getting that PPP money from them because, and again, also like the city of Toronto. Do you know how much money the city of Toronto makes, Jeff, when a baseball team a la the Yankees flies in and plays a game? It's called city wage tax. Those millions and millions of dollars. Why do you think Buffalo was like, hey, Toronto, we're sitting right here. Come play for us. Yeah. The city of Buffalo got millions of dollars, not because anybody was allowed in the stadium because they weren't, but because the city wage tax, where you come in and say, hey, guess what, Jeff? Payroll about $250 million is playing here in a 3-game series tonight, and they're like, whoa.
Right. Look at the Raptors basketball. Right? They're in Tampa. Team. Tampa's, we'll take it.
Loving it. Tampa's loving it. It's like, wait a second, I'm going to get an NBA payroll that's going to play as Tampa. Which, first of all, that's not even their home team. So they're saying, okay, we're going to get a basketball. So we're getting all Toronto's team city wage tax, and you know what you're else getting? The away team as well.
Right.
Boom. Tampa Bay's like,
though. The last thing, the vaccines, I will say, like, no one wanted to be in the United States, but I will say at this point, they've done pretty well with the vaccines, Donnie. Like, I think I saw yesterday, like, 60 million people have gotten the vaccine fully. This country has been a whale with that, I have to say. They're putting people in the right position. So
we're almost through.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, that's that for us. We appreciate you all watching. Thanks for joining us here on the Who's Betting Hour. We'll just wrap it up. Picks today. We both did well yesterday. Let's keep it going. I like a Gonzaga -9 against the Trojans, and I like Michigan. What is the line? 6.5 against
6.5.
6.5 against UCLA. Donnie, what do you like?
Yep, 2 plays. USC team total over 72.5 in the first game, and for the nightcap, we're going Michigan -3.5 in the first half. Good games on deck. Excited for them. Ready to go.
Yeah, and I think Gonzaga first half team total. You got to continue playing. I mean, they get the 40 seemingly every game. One other thing: will USC 2-3 zones slow down Gonzaga? No, I don't think no one slowed them down. People throwing zones, people throwing man-to-man. That hasn't mattered. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. But, all right, thanks for watching. Subscribe to the show if you're new around here. Thanks for joining us. I'm the Big Man on Camps. He's Donnie Rightside. We'll see you Wednesday here on the Hoops Betting Hour.